There has been an announcement from Chelsea Football Club this morning. I'm sure you're reading it now. The announcement says that Chelsea are no longer a serious football club. You might be reading that Chelsea have announced a new manager. You might be listening to the airwaves, reading the back pages, listening to what social media has to say, and they will be telling you that Chelsea have appointed a new manager. But what we are actually saying, what has actually come out of Stamford Bridge, is that Chelsea are no longer a serious football club. We are no longer a team determined to compete with the very best. We are no longer a team who are striving to win top-tier silverware. What we are doing now is trying to make money. Chelsea are no longer a serious team. There is an admission that has come out of Stamford Bridge with this ludicrous appointment from this despicable ownership that Chelsea are no longer a serious football club. We will never compete again whilst this ownership are in charge. We will never ever be seen as being a top-tier team whilst this ownership have anything to do with Chelsea. What we are doing with the appointment of Liam Rosenior is normalising mediocrity. Liam Rosenior has got the job because he is a company man, because he is one of the only managers in the world who is lowly enough in his development as a manager that will conform to the will of these despicable sporting directors. No manager worth his salt would work in the parameters that are put in place by this ownership. No manager with any kind of foothold in the game, any kind of prestige, any kind of standards would work for these sporting directors. So we have had to now go for a manager who is so lowly in his development that he can't possibly say no to this opportunity. Any top tier manager, any mid-level manager, or any Chelsea legend can't touch this job. They can't, because they will be a man of principle and they cannot work under this ownership. You cannot, if you are a serious manager, exist in these parameters. Do you think Jose Mourinho could ever have a sporting director with absolutely no pedigree in the game, Stanley, Stewart, any of these charlatans? Do you think that Mourinho would allow them to dictate to him who he is rotating? Do you think that you could have a situation where a top manager, a Zinedine Zidane, a Jurgen Klopp, whoever's out of work, whoever is a top tier manager out of work, would ever be able to have a serious conversation about football with Todd Bowley and be influenced in his judgment of a footballer, in his judgment of tactics, in his use of certain players, in the transfer strategy of the football club? It's unbelievable that this has happened. And what Chelsea have done here is normalise mediocrity. Never ever have Chelsea appointed a manager less deserving of the job. Never ever have Chelsea Football Club appointed a more underwhelming manager. Not in my lifetime. I genuinely can't think of it. Every manager that I can think of, that I had a rapport with, was brought in under noble and ambitious values. We are now bringing in a manager that doesn't have any of those. Like when we used to bring in managers, we bring in Glenn Hoddle from Swindon. It was a progressive, exciting appointment. You bring in Ruud Gullit, you bring in Gianluca Vialli. Every single one of those managers that came in, the ambition was to win the Premier League. And 1999, we finished 4 points behind Manchester United, who won the treble. The ambition was there. It didn't work, but the ambition was there. Win the Premier League. Then Roman Abramovich comes in, everything changes. We go and we appoint the very best in the world. We appoint Jose Mourinho. Why? Because Jose Mourinho wins a European Cup with Porto. Then what happens? Then we go and we appoint serial European Cup winner Carlo Ancelotti. Then what happens? Then we go and appoint Antonio Conte, who wins a hat-trick of Scudettos in a row. You appoint the best. They come in, they demonstrate that they are the best. Even when it didn't work, even when we appointed managers that didn't work, the ambition was still progressive and exciting. We appoint Luis Felipe Scolari. Yeah, it was a disaster. The appointment was good. He'd won the World Cup with Brazil. We were taking managers from top-tier clubs. We are now taking managers from where? We have taken a manager from Leicester City. We have taken a manager from Brighton. And we have now taken our own manager from Strasbourg. And this manager has only taken the job and only got the job because he is a company man. Liam Rosenior, it's not personal. It's not personal. As a man, I like him. As a Chelsea manager, it's outrageously poor. Outrageously poor. And he has to take the job, I know that. It's a job, he will never get an opportunity like this again in his life. He cannot turn down the job. But the only reason that he's got the job is because he is one of the only managers in world football that will work under these parameters. with these sporting directors because he knows that he's incredibly lucky to get the job. He's won the lottery. So he goes, yeah, of course, I'll do it. I'll work under the gate. Yeah, fine, whatever. But what we have announced this morning is that we are no longer a serious football club. We are no longer a club preoccupied by winning top-tier silverware. We are a club who hope to qualify for the Champions League. We are a club who will turn a profit. We hope to qualify for the Champions League and we will turn a profit. Winning silverware is completely incidental. It's not who we are. And that is the only reason Rosenior has been appointed. And that is a disgrace. He's been appointed. Why? Because the ownership needs someone to steer the ship in the exact direction that these owners and these sporting directors want. And Liam Rosenior is that man. We will never, ever compete again whilst these owners are in charge. Like, there are elite managers out there. There are good managers out there. Forget the elite. Like, I don't want Klopp at Chelsea, but he's a top-tier manager. If they appointed him, you could rationalise it. Zidane probably wouldn't come, but they should be talking to him. But even the good manager, forget that. We could get Andoni Iraola. We could get Oliver Glasner. But why haven't we? Because they would never work in these parameters. They could never work under these constraints. That's why we haven't done it. So we have had to appoint Rosenior. And the only reason that we've done it is because he will do it. He fits the model. He's a company man. He's already proven that he'll work for them. He's a company man and he'll do whatever Bowley, Agbali, Wynne, Stanley, Stewart ask of him. Never in the history of Chelsea Football Club have we appointed a more undeserving manager. Never in the history of Chelsea Football Club have we appointed a more underwhelming manager. I mean, you know when I say this about the silverware, you know when I say Chelsea will never compete for silverware, it feels like I'm catastrophising. And sometimes people think that, oh, you know, of course you could. You know, you've got some good players there and maybe Rosenior will get it going. Listen to the words of a Chelsea owner. So Jose Feliciano is a co-owner of Blueco. Blueco owned Chelsea, therefore, it's fair to say, Jose Feliciano is an owner of Chelsea Football Club. Just listen to this quote. Ultimately, what we're trying to build is a long-term, sustainable business that can increase in value significantly, and that means a lot more than winning or losing on the pitch. So when I'm saying that we're not trying to compete for silverware, what we are trying to do is make money, people go, nah, of course not. The owner of Chelsea Football Club told you this. Just listen to it. Just listen to it. If you take anything from this video, the owner of Chelsea Football Club has said, ultimately what we're trying to build is a long-term sustainable business that can increase in value significantly, and that means a lot more than winning or losing on the pitch. So this whole project is about making money, it's about being a business, and it's about more than winning on the pitch. So now, when I say that you need to redefine Chelsea, you know, if you have come into football, if you are basically under 40, you only really know Chelsea as a winning machine. For the past 30 years, Chelsea have been competing for top-tier silverware. We went 25 years without a trophy. You know, we won in 1971 against Real Madrid. We didn't win another trophy until 1997, Roberto Di Matteo Middlesbrough at Wembley. So if you're a little bit older than that, if you're 50, 60, you know Chelsea as an entity that didn't win silverware. But I'd say if you're under 35, certainly, maybe under 40, you only really know Chelsea as a winning institution. We have always tried to win the league. Our ambition has always been to try and win the league. Now you need to redefine that. You need to redefine the way that you see the club. I think that the way that most people under the age of 35 see Chelsea is a club determined to win silverware, a club always capable of winning silverware, a club that can turn it on against anyone, and a club who will do all we can to win. Just redefine us now. You need to change the way that you view Chelsea. You need to listen to the words of Jose Feliciano. You need to use your own mince pies and see what we are doing. If you really, really want to win the league, do you sign Jamie Gittins? If you really want to win the league, do you sign Liam Delap? If you really want to win the league, do you appoint Liam Rosenior? I ask you these questions rhetorically. Tell me in the comments. I feel like I've made my mind up. I feel like this is appalling, but I'm always ready to be wrong, and I often am. So I ask you these questions again. If you want to win the league, do you sign Jamie Gittins? Tell me in the comments I'm wrong. If you want to win the league, do you sign David Fofana? David Datro Fofana. Do you? Do you sign David Washington if you want to win the league? Do you sign Dario Isugo if you want to win the league? Probably not. So what we need to do now is acknowledge that we are no longer a serious entity. And when you think about what is going on Chelsea. And on this level, I feel sorry for Liam Rosenior because it's not his fault. But if you think about how volatile Stamford Bridge is going to be now, with this appointment combined with the rebranding of Chelsea away from Chelsea FC to CFC LDN, when you think about the season ticket price increase, when you think about this constant talk of Chelsea potentially leaving Stamford Bridge, when you think about Todd Bowley's links to third-party ticket tout websites, think about it all. Think about how volatile, how potentially hateful Stamford Bridge is going to be. And we can't really take it out on the ownership. Not really. So who becomes the public face of Bluecoat? You can't boo Win Stanley. You don't even know if he's in the stadium. You can't really boo Stewart. You can't really boo Bowley. Where do they sit? How can you let them know? Realistically. If you are in the Matthew Harding lower, how can you let them know? There is one way. And this is unjust, but it is what it is. The public face of Bluecoat now is Liam Rosenior. Liam Rosenior is a company man. He doesn't even have to give his bank details in. They know him. Liam Rosenior now becomes a public face of Bluecoat. Liam Rosenior now becomes the emblem of Bluecoat. Rightly or wrongly. And that isn't a place that you want to be. You know, people were talking about, you have to back the manager. You know, a good friend of mine, Olivia Bazaglo, spoke articulately, brilliantly. I disagreed with her, but she spoke well. Saying you have to back the manager. And you're like, well, I back Chelsea. I back Chelsea Football Club. And I hope that Liam Rosenior gets it right. I desperately hope that he can win some games. But Liam Rosenior is now the representation of Bluecoat. Rightly or wrongly. And, you know, I've heard people talking about protests. I'm like, what are you on about? You've got people who do podcasts from other countries trying to convince season ticket holders to not use the ticket that they've paid potentially over £100 for. That's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. What will happen, rightly or wrongly, is that Liam Rosenior will become the representation of Bluecoat. And Stamford Bridge will become a cauldron if it goes wrong. I just don't know where we go from here. I really, really do not know where we go from here. I hope he gets it right. I desperately hope he does. But he's going to have to be a genius. And far better managers than Liam Rosenior have been totally unable to work in the constraints put on them by this ownership. Tuchel walked away from this ownership. Why? Pochettino walked away from this ownership. Why? Maresca walked away from this ownership. Why? They are all managers who clearly know more and are clearly better managers than Liam Rosenior. And yet people are telling me that Rosenior might make it work. I hope they're right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.